Hello, San Francisco and beyond. Welcome to the Angelic Troublemakers. I'm your host, Alan Jones, and on today's program, I got a Basketball Jones update. I'm bringing you this program today um, just to update people on what I'm doing while I'm not sitting here. And it's about the Warriors Chase Center Arena in San Francisco. It is currently being constructed, and if you notice this uh, headline from a San Jose Mercury News says the best arena in the NBA? Question mark. Warriors say theirs in 13 months. So they're basically saying by October next year, this will be all completed. Now, of course, we have some still photos of the progress on this new uh, basketball arena in San Francisco called Chase Center. And I can honestly say I accept the challenge of people calling me crazy when I say that this structure is going to be used for something other than a basketball arena. Now, it's going to be hard for anybody to take me serious. I get that. This is Rick Welch, the top dog who's overseeing the project. I understand where people just think, hey, we got something here. And if I could use a video, sorry if it's cut off like that, but I want you to follow. This is it. 580,000 square feet of office space, 11 acres. Look at that jumbotron. Look at it, people. Chase Center, San Francisco. 44 suites. Ooh, coming right along. Interesting. Call me crazy. I'm saying I never seen a Warrior basketball game. Why do I say that? Now, if we can just for a moment, don't call me crazy just yet. The Golden State Warriors have been across the bay in Oakland for 47 years. I have been a Warrior fan since 1975. When the team moved out of the city in 1971, they moved because the city of San Francisco, during its biggest construction boom, decided, No, we're not going to build the Warriors an arena, the San Francisco Warriors. So the owner, hey, I have no choice. I'm bleeding money here. I got to leave. So his name was Franklin Muley. And so Franklin Muley up took his team across the bay where they had an arena. Now, far as how did the name Golden State get there instead of Oakland? Well, this owner at the time, he was a businessman and shrewd businessman, and he tried to make more of a buck than he possibly could. And he thought that he could have the Warriors play in Oakland and San Diego, meaning half the season in Oakland and half the season in San Diego. So you can't call them San Diego Warriors and you can't call them Oakland Warriors. So since he had northern and southern part of California covered, he just decided to call it the Golden State Warriors. Well, that deal fell through after he purchased all of the new uniforms, changed the name and everything. And so that's how the name got to be what it was. And so a lot of people, they say, well, it was because nobody wants to be identified with Oakland. That's why they don't want that name on there. That's not true. But the fact is, since he spent all this money on it and he was going broke, he could not uh, throw all those new uniforms and advertisement in the garbage. It just, and the name sounded good, so he kept it. So fast forward. Now the Warriors, under the new ownership, are doing quite well. And I remember just before they purchased the team, they were talking about moving to San Francisco. Hey, I understand that. Well, the former mayor, the late Ed Lee, sent them a letter. And in the letter, he asked them to look at some property on the water here in San Francisco. And so that started the ball rolling. Now they were kicked out of the Embarcadero where they originally wanted to build an arena. And it was a bunch of rich white folks saying, no, you're not going to block our view of the water. And they came up with these ridiculous things. And there was an apartment complex or a condominium complex that was all went to the voters, and it was defeated. And so the Warriors were scared. They said, we're not going to take this to the voters. So they just found another piece of property in San Francisco. And it happened to be at 16th and 3rd, right across the street from the new UCSF hospital. Now, I can guarantee you, if the Warriors Arena was there first, UCSF would not have said, oh, it's a great idea. Let's build a hospital right across the street from an 18,000 seat basketball arena. But that's not the way San Francisco sees it. Now, the Warriors, excuse me. Now, the thing is the ball's rolling. The structure's more than half complete. Looks beautiful. I claim it will not see a Warriors basketball game. I envision it for another use. Now, I'm not telling you what that use is right now because, hey, maybe I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and I don't know what I'm talking about. So why would I want to put it out there when it's possible maybe I'm just suffering from my basketball Jones. I'm just obsessed, in love with the fact that I believe the Warriors are going to stay in Oakland. And I have this project that I started based on the fact that San Francisco is so racist, it is unfit to be home to any NBA franchise, let alone the champs. And so right now, I'm in an issue where people aren't listening to me. Sure, 98,000 San Franciscans voted in support of my ballot measure to expose the city corruption and racism on this issue. But we lost. It was a difficult defeat. But as I've said before, a setback is really a step forward for those who are determined. And I'm determined to get the NBA's attention on the racism that it stands opposed to. And basically say, if I can prove San Francisco is too racist, you got to stop this project just like you stopped Donald Sterling and the Los Angeles Clippers, forced him to sell. And if San Francisco does not treat its black citizens fairly, you got to put your foot down, Adam Silver, commissioner of the NBA, just as you did when the state of North Carolina decided it was going to discriminate. Now, that gets tricky. Yes, it was a issue of transgender bathrooms and something like that uh, the NBA commissioner said, I can't be a part of this. And since the NBA All-Star game was going to be in the city of Charlotte that year, and he didn't want to be celebrating the All-Star game while in a state where it demonstrated that it was discriminating against a certain portion of society. So he said, change the law or we're moving the All-Star game. Well, they said, we don't care. Move the All-Star game. So he moved the All-Star game. Hundreds of millions of dollars left the state of North Carolina because they were too dumb to realize, this bathroom issue for transgenders, it's not that big of a deal. Well, they modified it, and I guess the NBA may reconsider and go back there in the next couple of years. But I'm saying that the NBA has shown precedence by Adam Silver rejecting the state of North Carolina over its discriminatory practices, and the league owners force the sale of one of the NBA franchises because of racist statements that one of its own made. And we're not kidding anybody. I'm sure that he wasn't the only owner. He was just the one that got caught. And I myself, I didn't agree with either one of those decisions. But that's another subject. The update that I'm bringing you today is, hey, I'm still at it. I have not given up. The arena is moving right along. What will it be used for? I'll that that's another update. But the fact that I want this structure completed is going to be interesting because what I envision how this structure is going to serve the people of San Francisco, it'll be a tourist magnet or for something else, is something that, hey, I'm committed to. I'm obsessed with this. You know, I am not going to let this go. Now, let's just say, for the sake of argument, Alan, you're crazy. The Warriors are coming here. It's $1 billion arena. Nothing is going to stop these rich white folks from bringing this arena to San Francisco. It's a done deal. Get over it. Go on about your business, you know, and hey, choose something that you can better handle. This is too big for you. Well, I agree. I'm saying I'm calling on God. And I'm calling on God to say, Lord, I ask you, Father, to help me get the message across because the print media here, they're not going to report on this racism in San Francisco. Why? Well, quite frankly, the San Francisco Chronicle and the San Francisco Examiner would have to look in the mirror first. And they ain't going to do that. They're not going to be pointing out the racism of the city officials who helped this project along just, you know, because they're racist. No, they have to look at themselves because they promoted racism in San Francisco by all of the egregious acts of racism that they refuse to report on. And so, by bringing attention to this issue, I'm saying once it does get to where God has opened up the door and allowed me to walk through with the evidence, the NBA commissioner is going to see for himself that the egregious acts of racism in San Francisco, California were far worse than the discrimination in the state of North Carolina and the racism by one owner of an NBA franchise. And so when I say that the Warriors will never occupy this arena, I can guarantee you, even if the NBA commissioner gets weak and wants to turn a blind eye to the issue, I got that covered. The fact is, this situation is not going to. Hey, I can slip on a banana peel and hit my head and die, and I'll be fine with that as well. Because I refuse to accept the fact that the city that I love, San Francisco, is going to get away with its racist practices against black folks for, decades without me putting my foot down. And I'm asking God to help me put my foot down. And if God says, Alan, I don't care about this issue, well, I'll soon find that out. And if I'm just too stubborn and God has been telling me all along, well, that I'll eventually wake up. However, I got 13 months. Uh, I will be talking on this subject periodically for the next 13 months. And let me tell you, the purpose of the angelic troublemakers, which was started for this very issue, is the fact that Bayard Rustin, a civil rights great who came up with the term angelic troublemakers, he said that we need more angelic troublemakers in the communities. And what are they? They are people who are willing to stand up, get involved, and get in between the wheels of government to stop and say, wait a minute, this is not right, without violence. And that's what it is, angelic troublemakers. I'm trying to be a troublemaker, and I invite you to join me. But I'm saying that by being a angelic troublemaker, we ain't got time for any of this silliness with protest in the street and blocking traffic, turning over police cars, vandalism, graffiti to make a statement. No, I prefer the ballot. I lost this time, but I'm very encouraged by the 98,000 votes we got. But the fact that there are so many things that are changing in the world today that we need to step up our game. Why? Because if you followed anything about like this Supreme Court nominee issue, we're going to really have to uh, get in more involved if we are going to have the United States of America that we know it can be. Because I'm telling you, there's so much silliness going on, we're going to need a different approach. And I say, angelic troublemakers, standing up, getting involved in politics. I mean, you don't have to vote for a person, but you can vote for different initiatives that are placed on the ballot, and they will help. But the fact that in, for instance, on this last year's, what was it, Charlottesville, they arrested four people who were a part of that issue on rioting charges. And as it was discovered or unsealed in the affidavit before the arrests were made, there are white supremacists training in martial arts and other uh, fight tactics in protest type situations. So if you got stuff like that going on, isn't that an indication we need to change our tactics? Because most people who are going down to protest, they're not going to they're not coming from martial arts training. They just are fed up with something and they want to be heard. Well, if uh, the white supremacists want to do that, we should look at it this way. We can't outslick them, but we can outsmart them. And the way we outsmart them is, you know, we don't get involved in the silly things that they're doing. Well, the same way with the angelic troublemakers. We all are going to outsmart those who think that they have a way. And I say that the best way to do it is through the ballot. And if that doesn't work, we still have tools, technology that can do our megaphone, if you will. And sure, right now, as I'm experiencing, it is tough. It is tough to get people to report on something. Now, I understand that it's tough for you to accuse somebody of being racist, but even when you put the evidence out there, they don't want to touch it. I have experienced where, in trying to get my message out, I've talked to reporters. I told them exactly what I was doing. And they said, well, if you do this, well, they're not gonna. I mean, I can't go into that. But the fact of the matter is they would give me all kind of phony excuses for not printing what I said and proved. I mean, I gave them facts, dates, I gave them material, proof, documentation, and they refused to report it. And so it's tough. But hey, that's just the way life is sometimes. I'm not going to stop just because uh, others are scared. If you don't want to scared while I'm walking forward, I guess I'll just have to go along. But I'm going along knowing one thing. I have nothing to fear if God is with me. And if God is not with me, why would I want it to succeed? My head's big enough as it is. So the fact that I am in a situation where I am letting you all know my basketball Jones, my obsession, my love for basketball is at stake here. I can't watch a Warriors basketball game if they're in San Francisco because I know that that arena was built on racism. Why do I say it's racism? You can't tell me that let me find this, you have a piece of property and this property is built on 11 acres. But they moved from a place where they had an option to build it on 130 acres in Oakland. So the thing is the future is here. I'll agree with that. But the future is not the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco. The future is respect for your neighbor. Oakland. San Francisco has showed itself to be so greedy. Do you know San Francisco has $10 billion a year in annual tourism? Oakland has $800 million a year in annual tourism. If we have so much, why are we taking from Oakland that has considerably less? This is not right. And to move a basketball arena from an impoverished Oakland community to a black community, might I add, to a brand new, dare I say, white community of San Francisco, you're going to have a better reason than we just want to make a buck. I ain't going for that. And so, since I'm determined, we're going to find out. Where's this basketball Jones going to take me? I say things will change. Until next time, God bless.